Hi, I'm PoChu AuYeung, Program Manager and Senior Programmer for the Vancouver International Film Festival. We're very pleased to welcome Ferit Karahan, Director for Brothers Keeper from Turkey. And Ferit is joining us from Istanbul to have a conversation about his film. Welcome, Ferit.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Ferit, I want to start with the first question. It's about the film it's about its autobiographical nature, because I read that you yourself have lived in a state boarding school like the one described in the film. So perhaps could you share with us what elements are there that are based on your real experience and which parts are the fictional elements?
Yeah, it's actually now it's very hard to say because now it's mixed actually. After I am writing the script, and as all writers, and I just lost myself in what happening in there and wh- what is my fantasy, and so. But the most of the time, I spent 6 years in the boarding school, and it was the beginning of the 19th until the end of the 19th.
Mhm.
So, um, 6 years it was really big experience for me, and but I had to put these 6 years in the one day. So it's a fictional, but in the behind the fiction there is a lot of experience, had been. So we can say both of them actually. It's a fictional, or also it's a autobiographic journey.
So when you said you spent 6 years there, were you at the same age as the protagonist, like as Yusuf that age?
Yes, exactly like that.
And you describe a lot of that kind of very, people, that institutional repression of the individual, right? With, people who sort of wants to abuse authority, but they also want to evade responsibility. So is that what you remember from those years, of living, of studying in the States boarding school?
And actually, the reality and harder than this movie, and but it's not nice to the you put the very realistic things into the one fictional movie, and it will be too much. And what happened over there, it was so hard, and s- for for all these children, also for me and for my colleagues, and from the bathroom till the restaurant, also
Mhm.
in the line, and teacher behavior, our friends violence, and very far from our home, and it was a really big trauma for me. And I couldn't um, get myself out from the boarding school. Now I am almost 14, and my wife say, also my co-writer Gulistan, and she said you have to make this movie. Maybe you have to clean yourself, and so
Mhm.
we started this journey actually.
So does it help? Does it help to exercise some of these bad memories, from making this film?
Yes, exactly. Yes, it happened, and when I finished the movie, actually, when I make the premiere of the movie, and I feel, um, yes, maybe, I have a very small child, maybe with her help, but I feel I'm not child anymore. I'm not in the boarding school anymore, and I get out myself from these um, circumstances of the pressures, and then maybe obedience of the school. So, really, it helps me a lot. I hope
So
for the in the in our country is a thousand boarding school happen. Sometimes is a girl or boy or mix, and some of them is a religions, but mostly is a belongs to the government. And I can say many people in the bureaucracy, or in the in the art, they comes from these schools, because our
Mm.
geography, especially in the Kurdish side of the Turkey, and it's very hard to the people send their children to the school because they are very poor. Also, it's a very big mountains. There isn't any school over there. They had to send the children to the school. So uh, when I get the reaction from the audience now in the Turkey especially, and sometimes one head of the TV, or sometimes the one writer, or very simple, bakery, and he said, they said we are coming from the boarding school. So it's very common in Turkey actually. I hope it will be clean themselves with this movie too.
Well, that's interesting because in the West here, right, boarding school is more usually more for the privileged class,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So that's just the opposite. So many of them are operated by the states, and but I mean, in again, you hope to that I'm not all of them will be. I think they'll be traumatized by the experience. But do you think the discipline also help in some way, or do you think that it's
Boarding school help us a lot, because otherwise you know I think I will be like the um, farmer or some kind of this job, because there isn't any school over there.
yeah,
But I'm not sure about discipline, because in the all around the world there's a problem in the education system. The education system must, and bring the creatively things for the human, but it's not working like that. It's usually one element for the industry. And so, and the institution of the old schools, and try to teach the obedience to the people, and that's the problem actually.
mhm,
So in our countries, like a very oppression and very systematic, especially in the Kurdish people, and also you can say, and it was assimilation children, and discipline actually is not good way to the
yeah.
this kind of the discipline actually with the violence, and it's not good actually. I have tried, and maybe you have it, and we put the discipline, but not like that, with the love and with the mercy. There isn't any mercy. There wasn't any mercy in the boarding school actually.
But what is interesting, the character by the played by Yusuf, the child, he
Yeah.
has compassion, right? He seems to stand out, from the rest. And so that brings to the question. I mean, how do you cast this young boy? I mean, he is great. I mean, uh, I guess he's not a professional actor. So would you mind sharing about how you come about casting him? I mean, is it take you a long time to find the right person?
Yes, he is not professional actor actually. When I scouting the location, and Turkey is a very big geographic area, and there was more than 100 boarding school I have to go and visit, and see this location. uh, when I scout the location, I try to make the casting. So maybe more than 10,000 boy. I cast 10,000 boys, and I have idea about his looking, and also I have idea his mind, because he how his mind working actually. It was so funny, when I wrote the script and I tell the Gülistan, my co-writer, and I said I want to create one of the prose character, and he has impression about the everything but all wrong.
Mhm.
Yusuf was like that. He has impression about the school because we spoke like a 1 hour, and he's not aware about that. And but the casting process, it was so tough. Even I think it was 1 month before the shooting, I couldn't find the Yusuf, and my colleagues, as they was very stressed about that. And I said, when I scouting the location, and he will find me. It's no sense to find Yusuf. Yusuf should find us.
Mhm.
And actually, it was happened like that. But playing with the children, and also Gülistan and my producers and my old friends thinks I am very good and playing with the children because of my first movie. Maybe they are right if I play with the one or two children.
Mhm.
It was 500. So the 500, I think 496, something like that. It was 500 boys, and they are very clever, and they are playing all the time with you. And it was really tough playing with these young children. And uh, but it was also pleasure, and you learn a lot from these circumstances.
So I mean, do you have to do a lot of training because there's a lot of scenes that involve like he's fearful, but at the same time, I mean, he's it's conflicted, right? He really wants to help, but also helpless, and that's what is impressive about his performance. And so, does he have experienced state boarding school himself? Did he go to one?
Yes, he was in the boarding school, but another boarding school. But I learned a lot from the Fellini. And Fellini, when he played with the amateur people,
Hmm.
and he you know um, he put one direction on them, and give them a lot of job to do it, and also and show his hand, and looking sadly, like my right hand or left hand or down or up.
Hmm.
I play like with Yusuf like that, and
I see.
just looking my hand, and comes like, and stay, and be little angry. It is too much, and put down, and all the time my voice around his uh, his faces, actually. So it was
Yeah,
so hard to make it also, it was so hard make it sound editing,
yeah.
because it wasn't possible, and my voice all the time during in the shooting. And but but
Well,
the
it does
result,
work.
I am happy. Yes, the result, I am
So he
happy.
carries the film very well, right? He really like have most of the film to carry. And
Yeah.
so what about like the location, right? Is it in a real state boarding school? Because it was shot in a very remote area and you have the blizzard and that doesn't look fake. That looks really real. So what are the challenges in shooting in such a remote part under such, terrible weather condition?
Oh, oh my God. I had two challenges. One of them children, but the other one, it was the location, because location is a very small town in the Kurdish territory. The real school is real. It's boarding school. But it was really dangerous road when you arrive to this boarding school, also this town, and just 1 year after, 45 people died in this road,
Mm.
and in the one time. So it could, because it's not calm, and one I think bus, go to the into the snow. And so waiting the snow, it's another challenge, and you have to be patient. And so I couldn't use any tripod or chariot or the other slow things because I have to be fast. So I have to be also prepare myself and before the shooting to the go into the scene very fast. But it was challenge because I don't want to make a rehearsals before the set. I never do it because it sounds to me, making the very mechanic way, and the actors. It's not surprise for the actors what I
Yeah.
say, saying in the during this shooting. It was net, it wasn't uh, natural actually. I think, and so and when snow come and we immediately go out and shooting some things, and 5 minutes later then snow finish and we come to the inside and shooting the inside. We was really like a guerrillas, but it was also very big set, 100 people working our set.
Including all the boys, the students and everybody, right?
With the boys it was 600 people
Oh,
working in our set. So, but I was drawing all the plans. I was writing the shooting board and making the storyboard, and I know what I'm shooting, and so that was important for me to do being fast actually.
well, and the plot calls for the snow too,
Yes, yes.
right? So in some way, you're lucky to have the blizzard, right, the snowstorm at that time to fit into your script, right?
Yeah, yes, some snow I put in the post production, but very small,
Yeah,
just behind the window, something like that. I think one scene I put the real snow, the artificial
yeah.
snow, but almost all of them is natural snow. So I was lucky.
So you mentioned that the film has already been released in Turkey, right? Like,
No, we didn't
no.
make premiere, and we show some people like for example, they are. I think we will able to show next month to
Oh,
the Antalya Film Festival. They have a lot of how can I say advisor and very crowded, and I showed them, and also I show my friends in the city,
oh,
and also most of them actually in the the audience they're watching from the Berlinale because this year
yes.
was online, and they
That's
even
how I
they
saw it.
yes they saw the movie from the Turkey.
So, because you mentioned when you went to the state school, right? That was in the 90s. And so, have anything changed, or you think it's still the same, that kind of, you know, idea of repression and, like um, expecting like complete obedience? Is that still, do you think it has changed, or is still the same way?
Actually, two things change. One thing is a phone, the other one is a car, and the cars change. And after that, nothing changed in our boarding school, nothing, and still is the same, and still there was violence there, and still they are eating same place, still they are sleeping as we are sleeping, and even I didn't change any location, building or anything. I just go and shut that. And also behavior is exactly same. I was really surprised because I expect uh, the teacher and headmaster and also students will change from our time,
Mhm.
because it's more than 20 years.
Yeah.
So, but it wasn't. It was exactly same.
So do you think your film might have some effect for, some call for changes when people have seen it and they really realize what it's like? Would that be act as a catalyst for change? Like if it's seen by, you know, um, government officials, or you think it would be still remain indifferent to the situation?
you know, I hope. The only way our government change, maybe one meteor come to the Turkey and destroy some places, and then they change, and it's not possible to our government change. And for my, no, it's not possible.
That's
There is- yes, they are so sure about their behavior, so, and they think they are so right. So it's not to change them with the art. The art usually change people who has a soul. So that's not possible for me, actually.
well. I mean, I think that Yusuf has a soul, right? So
Yeah.
it's going to be my last question because we have to wrap. So if you were to make a film again with Yusuf as an adult, a young man, how would you picture him?
It was over the decades I wrote the script. In first version was 2009 and 2012 and 2014. In 2009 I wrote, and after 2012, me and Gülistan, we wrote together a version, and but finally in 2016, when the ISIS come, and I feel the violence, because in the 19s in the Turkey, between Turkish and Kurdish, Kurdish guerrillas, Turkish soldier, there was a really violence, and were everywhere. And after 2015, ISIS came to especially in our cities and Kurdish cities, and bomb were everywhere in Turkey. And I immediately feel like a 19th, and we sat down and write this version is 7 days. And my first idea was making trilogy about the school, I actually Yusuf trilogy for this plot. And uh, Yusuf will go to the high school and then go to the university. But I'm not sure, and it's now actually uh, it's I have some things in my mind. Maybe not. It it won't be my next movie because I have to put my distance.
Mhm.
But when it, if I make about the high school, and also I was in the boarding school too, another boarding school, and it will be politic more, more than this one. Actually, this one also politic movie, but it will be little politic uh, about nowadays Turkey.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. And, I'm glad that the movie have some therapeutic effects for you. And now maybe, we look forward to seeing your next projects and wish you all the best.
Thank you so much for having me, and it was my pleasure. And really sorry for the little delay, and so thank you so much.